Can you also please allow me to share?
Okay, so I'm making you, let me see, just give me a moment. All right, I'm just making you a host. Just make me a host when you're done.
All right, sure. Thanks. All right. Good evening, guys. I would like to welcome you all to our meeting today. I'm just going to mute every one of you for now. But again, you are free to interact, but I'm just going to mute you for now so that you can hear me as I speak. Okay, my name is James from Varsity Unlimited Tutors. I'm sure most of you, you have seen my face before and we have worked together before. So we are now coming into our second semester. I believe your results, if they are not out, you should be expecting them this coming week. Latest will be probably the first week of August, if the results are not yet out. But I believe you all did well, even if they're not yet out. But usually it's the last week of July or first week of August, that's when the results are usually out. So what we want to do this following week is we want to do a couple of introductory lectures for the modules that we are going to be doing this semester together. So just like last semester, we are going to do all the modules with you guys. So when I say all the modules, I mean all 5 modules. I know you are going to choose the specific modules that you are doing because you've got an elective as a student, so you'll be doing 4. But as VUT, we have tutors available for all the different modules that you're having. So the approach that we're going to be using is the same approach that we used last semester, where we'll start with some free lessons, maybe 1 or 2 free lessons for each module. And then after the free lessons, we'll start the paid lessons. The paid lessons start on 1 August, right? So for those of you that are interested in continuing with us, from 1 August, we'll be doing classes only with students that are willing to pay the fee for the lessons. Then once we start the paid lessons, within the month of August, that is at the end of August, usually I think around 20 August or so, then we'll do the assignments, right? So around 20 August, we'll start working on the assignments. So please ensure that you have made your payments before those dates, because if you make your payments after those dates, it will not really benefit you. So please make sure that you've made your payments before those dates so that at least you can partake of the classes for the lessons. So around 20 August, I will post the official timetable for the assignments, but starting from 20 August up until 8 September, those are the weeks when we'll be doing the assignments within the various classes together with the students. Then in addition to the assignments, we are also going to help you with your KCQs. So just like we did last semester, there's going to be one-on-one help with the KCQs. But also within the class setup, your tutor is also going to come within the class setup and do the KCQs with you within the class setup, so that at least each and every student, you get your 100% on the KCQs, you get your very good mark on the assignments. I'm sure from last semester, you know that most of the time, if it's not 100%, it's 80% or something like that from your assignment, because we try to make sure that the information that we give you for the assignments is enough for you to have a perfect score. It's now up to you as a student to just try to change a couple of things, try to make your information unique so that there's no issues with plagiarism and whatnot. Right, so that's with the assignments. Then once the assignments are done, we are going to do exam revision, right? So your exams are starting on the 8th of November up to the 20th of November. So we need to make sure that in October, we'll be doing exam revision. So in August and in September, that is when we are going to be focusing on the assignments and on the notes. But as we get into October, we'll start now preparing for the exams, so that by the time we get to 8 November, for each and every module, we should be done and ready for you guys to write your exams. Right. So you're going to have different tutors, just like last semester. You're going to have different tutors for different modules. I'm going to introduce these tutors on each and every specific day when we are doing the free class for each and every tutor, right? But however, please take note, that each of these tutors are specialists in their areas. Each of these tutors are specialists in their areas. So for example, the first 2 free classes that we're going to have is the one that we're doing today for statistical techniques, and then one that we're doing, I think it's on Monday or on Tuesday. I'll confirm the timetable on Monday or Tuesday for information management, right? So those are your first 2 classes. Then I think on Wednesday, we've got operations management. And if I'm not mistaken, on Thursday or so, we're going to have project management. The free class that might be delayed is the one for ethical business management. This is going to happen next week, the following week, that is in August, for ethical business management. But all the other modules, operations management, project management, statistical techniques, and information management, these free classes are happening this weekend and this coming week. This is when we're doing these free classes. Again, I'll post in the groups the official timetable for these free classes. So your tutor for statistical techniques is a very good friend of mine, Mr. Kudaswanda. He is the one who's going to be taking you for statistical techniques. He's also going to take you guys for information management. So Mr. Kudaswanda is one of my managers at Varsity Unlimited Tutors. So just like I was teaching you guys last semester, where I was taking 2 modules with you, where I had macroeconomics and business finance, Mr. Kudaswanda is going to be the one who's leading my team at this semester. He's going to be the one taking you for statistical techniques and for information management. He's a very dear friend of mine, and he knows how we run business at Varsity Unlimited Tutors. So if there are any issues, any questions and whatnot, feel free to ask him in the class. If he cannot attend to the issues, you highlight them to me and I'll attend to them. But I will always be online on your WhatsApp groups if there is anything, and you can also always, you have my number, you can also always call me when there are any issues or when there are any problems within the classes. So I'm available, but I will not be taking you guys for any of the classes because these are not my specialties. These are not my specialties. But you'll be in good hands. I'm sure you'll be happy. If there are any problems, you highlight them to me and we can see how we can help each other out. The price is the same as last semester. It's 750 Rand per module. It's 750 Rand per module. You can pay in installments. If you cannot pay the full amount at once, you can pay in installments. You can pay something in July, something in August, something in September, something in October. Just make sure that by the time we get to the exams in November, you are fully paid up for your lesson. So you are free to do installments. We can discuss this on WhatsApp. Like usual, you just send me a message, James, I want to join the classes. You make your deposit. I'll add you to the group for that specific class. All right. Mr. Kudaswanda?
Yes, Mr. James.
All right. Let me make you the admin here, and then you can go ahead.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. James. I think let me put my video on so that at least people can see the person that they're talking to. All right. Thank you, Mr. James, for the introduction. Like Mr. James highlighted, my name is Kuda Sibanda. I will be the one taking you for statistical techniques and also information management. So like Mr. James highlighted, this is going to be an introductory lecture just for you guys to have an appreciation of how we are going to be doing this module. So this module is a mathematical module. So we are going to be doing this in a much more practical way. It's not a theoretical module. So when it requires us to have some calculations, I'm going to be showing you the steps. Like today, what I've prepared for you today, we are going to do an assignment, a past assignment, so that you can appreciate, right, how Mancosa asks questions regarding this module and how Mancosa expects you to answer the questions. So like I said, it's just an introductory lecture. right, for you to appreciate the module and see the method of delivery, right, that I use for this lecture. All right, so let me share my screen. Just feel free, right? Just feel free during this module. If you have any questions, right, you can just unmute yourself as I am conducting this lecture, right? And then you can just ask the question, or what you can do, you can just go directly to the chat box, and then you ask your question there. So I'll be monitoring the chat box also to see if there are any questions that come up. So don't wait for me to finish the module, to finish the lecture for you to ask, right? If there's something that you don't understand while I'm explaining it, please just kindly highlight so that we can solve that issue right there. Because our main aim, guys, is for you to understand the fundamental principles and for you to pass this module with flying colors. All right. So just confirm if you can see the screen. You should be able to see the assignment, statistical techniques in business, right? 30 marks. So this one was written in January 2020. This one was for January 2021 intake, right? Okay. So don't worry. Even if you don't have what do you call it, a background of statistics, right? I'm going to introduce this module even for a lane, for someone who doesn't have an idea of what statistics is. So don't worry. I'm going to take you through the module step by step. All right. So this is a typical example of an assignment that your lecturer sends to you guys, right? So what we want to do before we attempt this assignment, right? I want to define certain terms that we're going to use in this assignment, right? So that you understand, because remember, this is new for you guys, so that you understand what this is all about. So this is very, very, very simple. This assignment was very, 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 very simple, right? So don't even worry about that. We're also going to use Excel to do some calculations so that you see that this module is not what? Okay, let me share this screen. You don't need to use your calculator per se, right? Because remember, your assignment, you do it at home, right? You are typing it on your document, so you may as well do it on Excel, and Excel is very, very efficient when it comes to calculation. So I'm going to show you in this module how you have to leverage the Excel software for you to make sure that your calculations are without mistake. So let me start by defining what statistics is, right? Before I delve into the assignment itself. So what you need to understand is, for those that don't know what statistics is, so statistics is a way of gathering and organizing and interpreting information from that group to help you make sense of it all. So let me give you an example. Let's say maybe you are in a boardroom, right? You are supposed to be presenting maybe certain data to the board members, right? Maybe the directors, or maybe the marketing team, or the sales, right? So for the people to understand, right, the information that you want to convey, you can make use of statistics. So statistics allows you to gather the information that you want to present, to organize it in a very efficient way that they can understand, and also be able to interpret the information that you are presenting before the people. So that's what statistics is. So it's a way that allows you to gather information, to organize information, and then interpret that same information so that you make sense of what you are talking about. So that's why you see people, when they're doing presentations, right, they use tables, they use graphs, right? That is statistics, right? They are just organizing information that they've gathered, and they are now interpreting it to the rest of the people. All right. So now, in simpler terms, we're saying statistics is like a detective, like a policeman, right? That helps you to understand the patterns and the trends of data. Like, for an example, if a company wants to check right? Whether they have been operating at a loss or at a profit, right? They need to check what is called the trend of the data. So statistics can actually help that company to draw a graph to show whether the trend is increasing or is decreasing, right? So that's why we are saying it helps to understand the patterns and the trends in the data. So what statistics does generally, it takes a bunch of numbers, right? Turns them into useful information. So like for example, let me show you, right? Let me go back to that assignment. If you see this assignment, right, you're just seeing a bunch of numbers, right? They might not even make sense right now, but at the end of this lecture, you understand, right, what that information, what that bunch of numbers are. You understand the useful information behind that bunch of numbers, right? So where you can use statistics, let's say, for example, statistics can tell you which color is the most popular among people, right? Or it can help you to figure out the average amount of money people make. So statistics is used in predicting weather, analyzing sports performance, making business decisions, right? And also understanding public opinion. So generally, that is what statistics is in an overview. All right. So today, the unit that we are going to be, if you go to your study guide, right? The unit that we are going to be doing today, based on this assignment, is the unit, I think it should be unit 3 or unit 4, that talks about management statistics, right? So management statistics is divided into 2 sections. There's what they call measure of central tendency and measure of dispersion, right? So this assignment, it was about what we call the measure of central tendency, right? So let me define what it is. So a measure of central tendency, right? It is a single value that attempts to describe a set of data by identifying the central position within the set of data. All right, so statistics, you can actually use it to describe the data, right? And one of the tools in statistics that are used to describe data is a measure of central tendency. So what it does is it describes the set of data based on one value, right? So you can, okay, let me give you a very practical example, right? You get into a classroom, right? There are people that are sitting around, and then you say, what is the height, what is the average height, right, of these people in this group, right? So what you have to do is you have to measure each person's height, right? And then you divide by the number of people, and then you get one value called the average. That average now is a measure of central tendency, which is describing the height of people based on one value. So you say roughly these people, they've got a height of what, maybe let's say 1.5 meters, right? So that's what measures a measure of central tendency is. So we have got 3 types of measures of central tendencies. We've got your mean, which is your average. We have the median. We have the mode, right? So these are the 3 types of measures of central tendencies. Then the other term that we need to define today is ungrouped data, right? So when you are given data in statistics, there are 2 types of data that you have, right? You have what is called ungrouped data, and we have what is called grouped data. So ungrouped data is data that you first gather from an experiment or a study, right? Let's go back to that example that I gave you. You go into a classroom, right? And you see people that are sitting around. When you are asking each and every person their height, right? You are first gathering the data from the people, right? So that type of data that you have is what is called ungrouped. It's not sorted, it's not classified, it's not grouped. It's raw. You are getting it straight from the research, right? So that is what is called an ungrouped data. Then grouped data now is the data that has been bundled together in categories. Coming back to our example, you say people that have got a height between 1 to 1.2, can you stand in this corner, right? People that have got a height from 1.2 to what? To 1.4, can you stand in this corner? So what you're doing is you are grouping people in bundles. That is what is called grouped data, right? So remember, measure of central tendency, it is description of data based on a single value, and grouped data that is not in bundles, that is not sorted in any way. Then grouped data, that is data that is grouped or categorized. All right, having explained that, let us go back to our assignment. Now we'll be able to answer this assignment with the information that I gave you. All right, so now this question is saying the following data gives the hourly wage rates for a sample of 20 workers selected for a large company, right? So this information here, right, it is information, or it is the hourly wage rates for 20 workers, right? So the first question is saying, using the raw data, right, determine the range. All right, so now we want to look for the range. So don't worry, everything that I'm going to do today, right, we are going to repeat it later on. So the easiest way for you to calculate the range, what you need to know, let me first write the what? Let me write the equation here, right? So we want to calculate the range. So the range itself, there is a formula within your study guide, right? That says range is equals to maximum value, right, minus minimum value. Can you see? All right, so this is the data that we've been given, right? But this one I've already sorted it, right? So this is the data that we've been given. We need to find the minimum value from the data, and we need to find the maximum value from the data. Once we've got these two values, then we can calculate our range. All right, so let me show you the one easier way of doing this without taking much time, right? So there is an Excel sheet that we are going to be using today. All right, so I re-entered every value in this sheet. So I've shared an Excel sheet. If you are not seeing it right now, just highlight to me, because that's what I've shared, right? So you can see that there are those values, I rewrote them in Excel, right? Starting with the first value to the last value. So here's a trick I want to show you. If you want to find the minimum and the maximum value, Excel allows you to sort the data that you have. So what you do, I'm assuming that all of you guys, you at least have like knowledge of Excel, right? The basic one. Don't need the advanced knowledge skills, right? For Excel. So what you do is you come and you highlight this data, right? So these are the 20 samples. Then what you do is you come on this icon here, sort and filter. Then you click, right? And then you say sort smallest to largest, right? Okay, guys, confirm if you can hear me. Someone is saying they can't hear me, right? Is it only them or all of you can't hear me? Is there someone here?
No, we can hear you say perfectly.
All right, thank you so much. I think they're having a problem. All right, let me try to.
Mr. Kudo, can you please repeat after you have been highlighted? Where are you going to after that?
Sorry.
After you've been highlighted the numbers, where are you going after that?
Oh, okay. All right. No, that's fine, sir. Okay. All right. So Okay, so what I was saying is you highlight, right? Let me highlight again. You highlight these values, right? So I want you to watch this icon here, right? This icon from the mouse, right? My mouse. So it goes here where there's, you can see that there's a pop-up message that said sort and filter, right? So you come here, right? AZ with this filter there. So it allows you to sort, right? When you left click on this value, you left click, then it gives you options. You take this option, sort smallest from largest, right? When you double click, right? Okay, supposed to be sorting here. All right, let's see. Okay, so we want to sort from the smallest to the largest. All right, so now it has sorted from the smallest to the largest. Let me show you the data that I originally had. Okay, let's see. All right, so this is the data that I originally had before I sorted it, right? You can see that it's starting with 12, going to 9, 13. It's all jumbled up, right? Now we want to sort it from the smallest value going to the largest value. So here I'm highlighting again that same data, coming to this place, click on sort smallest to largest. Voila, you can see, right? It has sorted from the smallest value to the largest value. So what you can do now, instead of going back to the Word document, you can actually do your workings here, and then you can just import them to the Word document. So what you can do actually, there are two ways of calculating the range in Excel, right? Let's do the manual way. So you say a range, right? We want to get the range here. The range, we know we need the maximum value. We need the minimum value, right? So what is the maximum value? I'm doing the practical part of it. Since we have sorted here, right? This is the maximum value, which is 15.9. You come here, 15 point, you get your 15.9, right? The minimum value, that is the first number. So that's the reason why I'm saying sort your data, so that you don't have to, like, you know, to check on each and every entry. Excel does that for you, easy like that, right? Then the smallest number is 5.35. Then your range, Excel allows you to put formulas, right? You put the equal sign first. When you put equals, you are telling Excel, I want to put a formula, right? Now, when you put equals, your formula will be maximum value. You highlight the cell with the maximum value and say minus minimum value. You click again the cell with the minimum value. When you do that, Excel will show you that you are saying this cell minus that cell, which is what we want. We want maximum value minus the minimum value. When you press enter, it has calculated the range for you, right? Instead of you punching in the calculator. That's why I'm showing you this method, right? Because it's easy. Then there is actually an easier way, right? Let's see again, range. Remember, they say there are many ways of killing a cat, right? Okay, so I want to show you. All right, no, that's fine. I'm seeing that one of us who are saying they can't hear us, they are now back on track. All right, so now let's go back to, all right, to max and min. So if you want to find the maximum value, there is a formula also in Excel, right? You say equals max, right? Then you click on, let's say max A, right? It returns the largest value in a set of values. So if you click max A, then it wants you to highlight the set of data. And then you come and you highlight this data, right? Remember, you see? So it checks every entry and sees which one is the maximum value. And then it returns that maximum value, right? Then on the minimum again, that's the same, right? Then you say equals, you say min, right? then you go on mean A, right? Then you do the same thing again. You highlighted your data in which you want to check for the minimum value. When you press enter, it brings back again the smallest value. Then your range is still the same. You say equals maximum minus minimum. You press enter, you get your 10.5. Can you see how easy this is? Rather than going back, right? Going back to the Word document, you know, trying to find your calculator. You see, maybe when you punch in the calculator, you remember we are humans, we are prone to making mistakes, right? So chances of making a mistake, right, when you are punching a calculator, it's high, right? So we want to maximize to make sure that you guys, when you write your assignment, even if it's mathematical, right, you write the correct answer so that you get the maximum marks, you get your distinctions, right? So that is the two ways, right, of getting your range. So what I had done here, I had actually copied from Excel and then copied into the document. You can see that I had already sorted the data, right? So this is the minimum value. This is the maximum value, right? So the range is maximum minus minimum. So in this case, rather than just going straight, we can say 15.90, right, minus 5.35, right? And then you get your 10.55. That's your answer there. All right, so let's go back to the next session, right? The next question. It says, what percentage of these workers get paid less than 10 Rand per hour? Right? So you can see from the data, we've got people that have got money that is below 10 Rand. We've got people that have got wages above 10 Rand. Now they are asking for a percentage of workers that get paid less than 10 Rand per hour. So now remember, it is a percentage you are taking. We have got 20 people. Out of 20 people, not everyone gets paid less than 10 Rand. But we want a group of people that are paid less than 10 Rand, and then we make a percentage of those people from the total number of everyone. That's what this question is asking for, right? Okay, so someone is saying 40%. All right, that's great. Actually, that's actually how I do with my students. So sometimes when we're doing something practically, I actually give you time to go and work it out, right? And then maybe after a minute, you then post your answers like what one of us did there, right? And then we then verify if that answer is correct. This way I really like it because you yourself, you go and practice, right? And then when I'm explaining, then you will see where you make your mistake. It will stick a little bit much more. All right, so let's see. Someone says it's 40%. Okay, so let me try by writing the percentage first, right? So that at least you understand where this is coming from. All right, so we are saying the percentage of workers, right, getting less than 10 Rand, right, per hour. Okay, let me just leave per hour, because all of them they're getting per hour. So what we need is we need to know the number of workers, right, that are paid less than 10 Rand, right? We need that number of the people that get this amount of wages, right, over the total number of all the workers, right? Total number of all the workers. So basically, this is what? This is the what? This is the equation, right? Let me put my equal sign there. Right. Okay. So this is the what? The equation. So let's go back to the data. Let's find how many people are paid less than 10 Rand, right? Less than 10 Rand. So let me remove this board here. All right. So let me do first manually, right? And then we'll try to maybe to show you maybe in Excel, right? So here you have sorted the data already, right? And then what you do is you check which values are what are greater than what are less than 10. So this one is less than, this one is less than, this one is less than, right? This one is less than this one. So since we have already sorted the data, it's easier for us to see. So all the values, these ones that I have highlighted, all of these, they are less than 10. Can you see? So that is the advantage of us having sorted the data also beforehand. Because when we sorted the data, now it's easier for us to see who has values that are less than 10. So here, when you want to count manually now, you will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But like I said, when you do things manually, sometimes you might make a mistake, right? So let's go back to Excel. Let me show you how you can leverage Excel to make life easier for you, right? So Excel, it has got a formula called count, right? So it can count the numbers, right? We want to know the numbers that are less than 10. So obviously we're going to drag all the numbers since this data is already sorted, right? From the smallest to the maximum. We can just highlight all the data that is below 10, and then Excel will just count for us, right? So I've used equals count A, then I'm highlighting all the data less than 10. When I press enter, it gives me 8. So I don't have to read to count 1, 2, 3, 4. Excel counts that for me, right? As easy as that, right? So we go back to our Word document, right? We have already put the formula there, right? So the number of workers that are paid less than 10, this is 8, right? The total number is what? Is 20. Okay, so I'd actually left the percentage there. So we need to multiply by 100. Okay, where's the multiplication? Okay, there. So we need to multiply by 100%. All right. So when you multiply that by 100%, what is that? It's 40, né? Is it 40%? Okay, let's go and use Excel. All right. If you are not sure, my calculator, let me just take my calculator. Let's say 8 divided by 20 by 140. So our friend was very correct. Can you see? Right? They went ahead, they calculated even before we attempted ourselves. So thank you so much, Malunga, right? Thank you so much for your contribution. You know, I also see Pakamisa there. Thank you so much, guys, right? Okay, so we are done with the percentage, right? 40%. Now let's go to the third one, right? So let's see what the third question is. Okay, so now the question is saying group the data into frequency distribution with the lowest class lower limit of 5 rand and a class width of 2 rand include the cumulative frequencies. All right. So you remember we defined what the raw data is, right? Raw data is the ungrouped data, right? The data that is not sorted in any way. So this type of data was ungrouped. Now they want us to group it, right? So grouping it now, there's what we call class intervals that you group data into. So let me define some certain terms so that you can understand what they are asking you in this question. Remember, this is just an introductory. I'm going to repeat this again when we do the lectures, right? So even if you don't understand what I'm going to explain now, don't worry, right? I'm going to repeat it, and And I'll make sure that everyone will be on the same place, right? When we do the lectures. All right, so let me see. So this is grouped data. Let me just say grouped data. All right, so let me explain this. Okay, so there are some notes that I want you guys to see. All right. So let's when we are grouping data, right? You must know of what I'm explaining now. All right. So let it be on your fingertips. Understand this so that, because this question, your exam, right? Each and every unit comes. Maybe I think the only unit that might not come is maybe unit 1 and 2, the one for theory, right? So it's not like something that they ask each and every time. But all the workings from unit 3 up until to the last unit, there is a question on that, right? And your exam is in multiple choice, right? So that's why I'm really stressing the issue of getting the correct answer, so that when you are writing an exam, you can really get the correct answer there. So let me define the terms that are very critical for you to be able to draw the table or to group the data when you are given ungrouped data. So let me define first what is called the class interval, right? So a class interval, it is a term that is used to denote what is called the numerical width of a class in a frequency distribution. Let me give you a practical example so that you understand what I'm telling you. Let's go back to that issue of the classroom, right? A person comes into the class, right? Then they say people that have got a shoe size from what? From maybe 4 to 5, may you stand in this corner, right? People that have got a shoe size of 6 to 7, may you stand in this corner. People that have got a shoe size of 8 to 9, may you stand in that corner. So 4 to 5, that's a class interval. That's a numerical width, right? That's what a class interval is. So if you are saying 4 to 5, that is a class on its own. And the interval is starting from 4 going to 5. So that's what a class interval is. Then the difference now between what is called the upper class limit and the lower class limit, we are saying that a class interval has got a lower value, in this case, which is 4, and an upper value, in this case, which is 5. So the lowest value of a class is called a lower limit, right? And the highest value of that class is called an upper class limit, right? So the difference between the upper class and the lower class gives you what is called the class interval, the numerical width of the class, right? So in this case, it will be 5 minus 4, that's your class interval, right? And the class itself is 4 to what? To 5. So that's what it means, right? Then the class limits now, like we said, this will be the lowest value and the highest value in the class, right? 4 to 5, right? 4 will be the lower class limit, 5 will be the upper class limit. So these are called the boundaries of the class, right? So the class, that class must not have a value that goes beyond these two values. All the values of that class must lie between the lower limit and the upper limit. If any value goes beyond that class, it's now in the next class, right? It will be now in the next class, right? Now let's define something again called the class width, right? So the class width refers to the difference between the highest value of a class and the lowest value of a class. Now, mathematically speaking, if you want to calculate the value of the class width, what you do is there are two ways of doing it, right? Let me write the formula here. Let me show you the formula there, right? So the formula will be class width is equals to, so UCL means the upper class limit, And LCL means the lower class limit. So class width, in this case, you have to find the difference between upper limits of 2 consecutive classes, or you find the difference between the lower limits of 2 consecutive classes. So when we're talking about consecutive classes, right? This is the table that we're going to what? This is the table that we're going to make. So I'm just going ahead of myself a little bit, but I want you to understand this. I'm going to show you how we are going to create this, right? So we are saying these are the classes that we are going to make from the data, right? But I'm going to show you, don't worry. I'm going to show you. So these are the classes that we are going to make from the data, right? And these are the frequencies, right? How many people fall into this class, right? That's what frequency is. You are bundling up people based on a certain category. So the first category is wages from 5 to 6.99 rand. And how many people fall into that category, right? So now this is the first class, second class, third class, fourth class, fifth class, right? So this value here for this first class, this is your lower class limit, right? And then this value here, right, which is on the right, this is the upper class limit for this class, right? So when you are calculating the class width, right, there are 2 ways of doing it, right? You have to find the difference of the upper limits of 2 consecutive classes. So let's take the first class and the second class. So if you want to use the upper limits, you say the upper limit of the second class subtracting the upper limit of the first class. That will be the class width of this information here, or of this grouped data, right? If you choose rather to use lower limits, right, what you do is you say the lower limit of the second class minus the lower limit of the first class. So what you just need to know is the classes must be consecutive. When we are saying consecutive, we mean that they must be neighboring. There must be one next to the other. So I can't take this class and this class, right? The first and the third, because they are not neighboring. I have skipped another class there. They must be neighboring, right? I can take these 2 classes, or I can take these 2 classes, or I can take these 2 classes, right? They must be neighboring. So it's up to you whether to choose the upper limits, right? Or whether to choose the lower limit. But the general formula is, if you are choosing upper class limits, it must be the upper class limit of the second class minus the upper class limit of the first class, right? If you're choosing lower class limits, it must be lower class limits of the second class minus lower class limits of the first class. So that is how you calculate the class width. These terminologies, you must know them, because when we are going into unit 3, they will ask you to calculate what is called the median and the mode. And those 2 measures of central tendencies, they want you to calculate the class width first. That is why I am taking my time to explain this, so that when we go into the lectures themselves, this will just be revision. It won't be hard for you to catch, right? All right, so let's now group this data. Now that we have understood the basics, right, or the terminologies behind the grouping of data, let's now group the data itself. Okay, so now let's go back to Excel, right? Okay, let me delete this. All right, so let me make 2 columns here. So let's say class interval, right? And then we have frequency, right? So when we are saying frequency, we're saying how many times, how many people fall into that category. That's basically what we are saying, right? So now, how do we get the first class? The first class is determined by the minimum value, right? So our minimum value in this case, it is what? It is 5.35. So we can start at 5.00, right? So that would be the lowest value of all this data, right? So the first class, it's starting from 5.00 because our minimum value is 5.35. Then let's say, so there's information that we have been told here, right? Okay, let me show you. So we have been told, right, that the lowest class, the lowest class, lower limit is 5. Remember, I was telling you that a class has got what? A lower limit and an upper limit. So the first class itself, the lowest value is 5.00. That's the one that I wrote there, right? And then we are told that the class width is 2 rand, right? Remember, I told you the class width, the 2 ways of calculating what? The class width. So this information, we can actually use it now. Okay, let me first write it down, right? So we say lower, the lowest so when they are saying the lowest lower class limit is the lower class limit of the first class. So this one, they said it is 5 rand, right? And then they said the class width, right, is equals to 2 rand, right? So we know that we are going to start with what? With 5.00. So before I can write the value on the right side, I need to write the lower limit of the what? The next class. Because remember, class width, right? We said if you are given lower limits, it will be what? It will be LCL2 minus LCL1, right? So in this case, we are given LCL1, right? And we are given class width. So generally what it means, let me go to the, to the Word document. Let me show you this, right? So it's more like we have been given an equation, right? That class width, it's equals to what? It's equals to 2 based on this equation here, right? The class width is equals to 2, but we want to find the lower class, the second lower class limit given the first class, the first lower class limit, right? So it's 2 equals to what? To LCL2 minus the lower class limit of the first class. We have been told that it's 5, right? So it's 5.00. So generally what we're going to do is we're going to rearrange these terms, right? In such a way that LCL2 will be equals to 5.00, right? Plus 2.00, which gives us 7.00, right? So the lower class limit of the second class, in this case, it will be what? It will be 7.00, right? So in this value, the value on the right side, what you need to know is that the upper class limit of the previous class must not be the same as the lower class of the next class. So that's why I'm putting 6.99 here, right? 6.99, because if I put 7 here, right? If I get a value which is 7.00, which class is it going to go into, right? Because 7.00 will be in 2 classes. So that's why in this case we have 6.99. That will be the maximum value of what? Of the upper class limit of the first class, right? So 6.99 plus 2, because remember the class width is 2 here, right? So here we get what? We get 8.99, right? So for the next class, we just say 7 plus 2, that gives us 9.00. Then we say 8.99 plus 2, the class width, right? Then it gives us 10.99. Again, here we say 9 plus 2, it gives us 11.99. You see how easy it is now when you are working in Excel, right? And then 10.99 plus 2, then we get 12.99, right? 11.99 plus 2, you get 13. Okay, sorry. This is 12. This is 11 actually, 11.0. Then 11.00 plus 2, right? You get 13.0, right? Less than 12.99 plus 2, then you get 14.99. Then the last one now will be 15.00 less than 16.99. So this will be the last one. This will be the last class. Why? Because our maximum value will be in this class, right? So now that we have managed to come up with our classes, we have now managed to come up with our categories, right? Now let's try to bundle up each and everyone into a class that they fall into. So let's see how many people from this information, right, fall in the class of 5 to 6.99, right? So you come and you check here, we have 2 people, right? So there are 2 people that fall into that class. Let's check how many people fall in the class of 7 to 8.99, right? So we've got 3 people, right? Those are 3 people there. Now, how many people fall into 9 to 10.99? It's 4 people, which is 4 there. Then how many people fall into 11 to 12.99, right? You come between 11 to 12.99. So these are 5, right? There's a 5 there. Between 13 to 14.99. 13 to 14.99. These are 4, right? Then 15 to 16.99. So these are 2. All right. So to make sure that what you have done is correct, right? You just say equals sum, right? So that you add all these values here to see if they get to 20. Yes. So when you add all these frequencies, they must give you the total number of people that have what? That have participated in the what? In the event, right? Now, the other question also that they asked you was to do what is called a cumulative frequency, right? Cumulative frequency. So a cumulative frequency, basically, for a class, you are adding all the frequencies that are before the class. Like in this case, if we come to the second class here, we are adding all the classes before this class. So it will be 2 plus 3. If you come here, it will be 2 plus 3 plus 4, right? So the easiest way of doing this in Excel, what you need to know is when you are asked to calculate the cumulative frequency of any data, right? The cumulative frequency of the first class is always the same, right? It's always the same as the frequency of that class. So in this case, the cumulative frequency of the first class is equals to 2, which is the frequency there, right? So this only applies for the first class only. For the next class, for all the classes after the first class, what you do is you say the cumulative frequency of that class will be the frequency of the class in question plus the cumulative frequency of the previous class. So what you're doing, you're just saying 2 plus 3 to give you 5, right? In this case, you say equals to 4 plus 5, right? To give you 9. Here you say equals to 4 plus 9, right? To give you 9 also. No, this can be 9. It's equals to 5 plus 9, which is 14, equals to 4 plus 14, right, which is 18. Then you say equals to 2 plus 18. Then it gives you what? It gives you 20. right? But the easiest way, remember I was doing this manually. The reason why I'm showing you in Excel is for you to understand that Excel can make life easier for you. So if you do this for the first one, if you say equals to 3 plus 2, you can then just drag. Excel will do the rest for you, right? So this same data now, right? This same data is the same data that is in this table here. The class interval, the frequency, and the cumulative frequency, right? So what we have done here, we have managed to group the data in what? In class intervals, right? So these are the class intervals, the first class, second class, third class, fourth, fifth, sixth class, with the respective frequency and the respective cumulative frequencies. All right, so we are done with this question, right? Now, the next question here is saying, determine the mean wage rate using the raw data, right? So basically, what it means now is, let me show you the formula here. All right. All right, so the mean wage rate, right? Basically, we are saying that it is the mean. We are saying it is the sum of all the observations divided by the number of observations. So what you're going to do is you're going to add everything, right? You add everything here from 5 up until to the last value, and then you divide by the total of the number of people that took part in that sample there. So if you go to Excel, right? Let me go to Excel there. If you go to Excel, right? So Excel can do two things for you. You can do the longer way, right? Where you say sum of all observations, right? Sum of all observations, right? And then you say total number of people, right? So sum of all observations, we say summation of all these values, right? Okay, then equals to 20. Then your mean will be equals to sum of all the observations, right? Divided by the total number of people. Then you get 11.16. But there's an easier way of doing this, right? You can just say average, because remember, this is ungrouped data. You can just say average of all these values, and then you get 11.16. So that is the value there that you want, right? Now, the last question that we're going to do, this one I'm not going to do this one, right? Because it wanted you to manipulate something. It's not part of like statistics. They wanted to check like basic maths. So the last question that we're going to do is this one, right? Drawing what is called an Ogive curve. So the question says, draw an Ogive curve corresponding to the data, right? And use it to estimate what is called the median, right? So now, drawing the Ogive curve, right? An Ogive curve, it is a plot, or let me show you. According to your notes, right? The Ogive curve, right? When you are plotting what is called the Ogive curve, you are plotting what is called the upper class limit, right? Against what is called the cumulative frequency. So that is why in the previous question, they wanted you to put the cumulative frequency on the table, right? Because they wanted you to calculate the Ogive curve later. So what you just need to do when you have this table, you come on the class intervals, you take all the values on the right side, 6.99, 8.99, 10.99, 12.99, 14.99, 16.99, right? All those values on the right side, these are all upper class limits, right? So you come and you put them on a table, upper class limit, and then you plot them, and then you write them down, right? And then you write the respective cumulative frequency, right? For 6.99, the cumulative frequency was 2. For this, right, the cumulative frequency was this one. For this, the cumulative frequency was what? Was this one. So you come again and you write the cumulative frequency, right? For what? For these two. So what you do now is when you have this data, right? You go to Excel, all right? You go to Excel, and what you do, you want to plot a cave, the Ogive cave. So this will be your x-axis, this will be your y-axis. So when you highlight these two entries, right? You come on insert here. Okay, can you see my mouse? It's coming on insert, right? You go on insert there, you come on the recommended charts. When you click on recommended charts, just click this one, right? That gives, they call it a scatter here. Or what you can do, you can just come on insert, and then you can come here on the scatter here, right? And you choose this one. All right. So then this one you can rename. You can rename to Ogive. To Ogive cave. All right. So now the question was saying, use the Ogive cave, right, to estimate what is called the median, right? So the median, it is the value that divides the set of data into 2 equal halves. Don't worry, we're going to explain more on the median when we go deep into the lectures, right? So what you just need to do is on the values, on the maximum value, right? You check your maximum value on the y-axis. In this case, it is 20, right? And then you say 20 divided by 2, because remember the value must divide the data into 2 equal halves. So it is the value that lies at the center of all the data, right? So that's why we are dividing the total number of people by 2. So we say 20 divided by 2, you get a 10, right? And when you get a 10, you draw a value, right? Okay, let me try to, okay. You then draw a line from 10 up until it crosses, right? Let me try to zoom in. Up until it crosses. All right. Okay, let me repeat this. All right, so let me redo this, right? So we go on 10, right? We draw a line from 10 up until the line crosses the curve itself, right? And then we draw a line from that point of intersection between the line and the curve, and then we go down. The value that we get here, that is what is called the median, right? So in this case, the median, maybe we can say it's maybe 11.2. It's now, that's why they said, and estimate the median, because now it might differ with people. Someone might say it's 11.4, someone might say 11.3, someone might say 11.2. So they will have ranges that they will be marking for. So in this case, I'll just take maybe 11.25. So the median in this case, based on what we have managed to get from the Ogive curve, is 11.25. All right. So that's all, guys. You can see that we have managed to what? To answer an assignment in just one lecture, right? So this, we are also going to repeat this when we are actually doing your assignment. I'm going to assist you in answering your assignment. I'm also, I don't know if you have KCQs, but I want to believe that you also have KCQs. So I'll assist you with the assignment writing. I'll also assist you with the KCQs if you do have KCQs, right? So we are going to repeat this whole process again when we do the assignment, and I'm going to be showing you step by step in how you attempt to do your assignment. So guys, thank you so much. I'm not so sure if there's anyone who've got any questions based on what I have been sharing and showing you today. Remember, the main aim of this lecture was to show you the method of delivery, right? So that you can appreciate how I conduct my lectures, right? So that you know that statistical techniques is a practical course, and I'll be showing you step by step in how you will be doing it. All right. So I'm not so sure if there are any questions.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
I just want to check with you. If I'm saying the mean, it's similar to average. Like if they say mean, they mean like I must get the average. I'm correct? Yes, you are correct. The mean is just, it's another term for average actually. Thank you so much for bringing that. Yeah. So the mean, if you are forgetting what a mean is, just remember how you calculate the average.
Mr. Sibanda, are we going to have a recording of this session?
Yes, you are going to be having the recording of this session.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, I'm seeing someone has posted a question here. I could have, on the last question, why did you use those numbers on your y-axis? I thought you still use the numbers from the data. Yes, okay. So the data actually on the y-axis is the data it's actually from the data itself, right? But let me show you. Let me show you. Okay. You can see that from what we were plotting, these values here, cumulative frequency, are these values here. You can see, right? Then these values are the right values of these classes. The right values of these classes, right? So basically what I did is these values were plotted on the y-axis, all right? That's why the maximum value was 20. Then these values were plotted on the x-axis, right? So when I was saying 20 divided by 2, basically what I was just saying is this 20, the number of all the people that we have been given in the data, is what we are dividing into 2. Why? Because the median itself, right? The median, it is a value that divides all these data. You see all this data into 2 equal halves, right? Okay, let me redo this. So let me actually show you. Okay, what's happening? I think, all right, let me show you. Né? So, okay. I think I did something that I was not supposed to. Okay, like this. Okay, let me show you. The median in this case, right? I showed you the median through the graph, but let me show you the median from the data without plotting the graph, because we don't get the median only on the graph. So we are saying the median, right? It is the value that must separate this data into 2 equal halves, right? So the median in this case, right, using the formulas that I'm going to show you later, this data will be, let's say, the data that is going to, the data value that is going to separate this set of data into 2, we need to find a value, right, which is on the middle, right? The value that lies in the middle there. Okay, so let me do this. So the first entry is on cell number 1, right? Row number 1, and the last is on row number 20. So when we say 20 divided by 2, we get to 10, right? So the number, the value that is going to divide this set of data into 2 equal halves will be a value in between 10 and 11, right? Because remember, 10 cannot divide the data into equal halves, because if we take 10, there will be 9 values here, and then there will be 10 values under it. So the value will be in the middle there. It will be in the middle of 11.5 and 11.75. So it will be in the middle there. So that will be the median, the value that divides the data into 2 equal halves. So what we just did, instead of not doing this practically, right? We just plotted a graph. We just plotted a graph, right? And we used that graph now to find that value. So what we did is we just say, how many people do we have, right? Okay, I think I left some values here. I need to put 20 there. So what I just did was, we've got 20 according to this data, right? The maximum number of people is 20. You can see that the number there, this point is ending at 20 there. So we then say 20 divided by 2, which is 10. And then we draw a line from 10 up until it crosses the axis, and then it goes down, and then we find what? The value. All right. So I'm hoping that you got it. But remember, like I told you, if you don't understand this, remember, this is an introductory lecture. I'm going to redo this, right, in the lectures. I just wanted to give you an overview of how the lectures will be like, and maybe to just give you a test that, you know, statistics it's something that is not a monster, right? It's something that all of us can handle. I know most of the time when people say that statistics is a numerical module, people, they tend to have a negative attitude, but it's just an interesting module, right? I just wanted to show you that it's something doable, something which is easy, and even someone who's not good with maths can pass and can easily pass this with a distinction. All right. So someone is saying, yes, I'm going to share the notes, the detailed notes, right? So the notes that I was writing, I was just like showing you how it's done, but I actually have the notes with every step that I was doing. So I'm going to share that to James. I'm going to share also the question paper and also the video clip, so that you guys, you can have you can watch it anytime soon. All right. Is there anyone with any other question before we close this session? All right. So I'm assuming that all of you guys you have managed to grasp what we just, you know, that I delivered to you, and now you have an idea of what you're going to expect in this module. This module is very, very, very interactive. I know maybe today you were maybe a little bit scared to ask questions and so forth, but it's very, very, very interactive. People will be engaging with me as I go, you know, with the lecture, and I'll try by all means to bring it to you in the simplest way ever, so that even those ones that are not very sure of themselves when it comes to this course, they will pass this course with a definite pass. All right. So guys, thank you so much. Let's meet for statistical techniques. James is going to give you another timetable for another lecture, right, which is going to be free. Then, like he highlighted, I'm going to meet, I don't know if it is all of you or some of you on Monday for information management. I'm seeing someone is saying the median is 11.625. That's correct, because if you say 11.5 plus 11.75 divided by 2, then it gives you that. So it means that my estimation was a bit off here. Remember, it's an estimation. So thank you so much, Malunga, for bringing that up. All right. I appreciate your comments, guys. So let's meet next time, and have a lovely evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.